Hi there, I'm Dr. Amelia Fay. I'm the curator of anthropology and the Hudson's Bay Museum Company collection here at the Manitoba Museum. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the tourist trade. What I have in front of me are two of my favorite of these types of belongings for obvious reasons, because they're very cute. So these are two stuffed beaver. What's interesting is they're actually made out of muskrat fur, and these came from two very separate donations. So this one over here that's in slightly better shape, it still has its little whiskers. This one came from a nurse, and she worked in northern Manitoba in Norway House and Tatasquiac in the 1970s. And so she picked this up during her time there. And this one came into the HBC collection from a former district fur buyer, Phil Patterson, who worked for the company for many years and later in fur grading business, and he traveled all over Canada's north, and so I'm assuming this one is also from Manitoba, but we don't actually know. What's really cute about them, aside from their little looks, is that someone took the effort, so they take muskrat fur to make stuffed beavers, probably because muskrat fur was a little cheaper and easier to work with in this instance, but they're beading these cute little tails. They've got little tiny beaded ears, beaded eyes, and of course their front paws and their feet. This one, unfortunately, has suffered a little bit of damage on his nose. The donor's daughter actually lovingly called this Beeve, and she loved this as a child. I think that might be from the love. But here, this one's holding up a little bit better. So we actually have quite a few in our both anthropology and HBC collections of particular items that were made specifically to sell to tourists. So these aren't things that typically First Nations, Inuit, and Métis individuals and artists are making for their own selves. These are things that they know they're going to sell to an external market. And the tourist trade was actually quite robust. And so, today we think of tourism as people, traveling quite far and going into communities, which a lot of folks are doing now. But back in the day, the tourist trade also kind of talks about people that were flying into communities for work. So nurses, medical professionals, and of course, the Hudson's Bay Company and those types of jobs that came along with that role. So throughout, the 20th century, we start to see a lot of these types of belongings that are made specifically for this, to bring in some money into the community and things that are small and portable and could take back home with them. And what made me think of them as good examples of these tourist trade items that were made for this purpose was because we're actually getting a third one joining the collection soon, a recent offer of donation. And in this case, it's from God's Lake, and we actually have the name of the maker. So I'm really excited to receive this third little buddy to join these two to help us tell the story of an important kind of economic boom of the tourist trade.